Compound Coalition. We're here at the last interview at Self-Reliance Festival. AJ Harrison, Simmerwell.
.com.
What's your catering business?
Crave Catering and Cakes.
Cakes? I never
Cakes.
saw a fucking cake.
It's because I quit doing them like 3 years ago.
Are you a trained pastry chef?
Yes.
Are you fucking with me?
I trained myself.
Got it.
Yep.
Are you a better pastry chef than a meat cook? What does a meat cook call it? Like, what are you? A chef?
I'm just a dude that cooks. Like, I don't call myself chef. Most of the, like Kiri when we were working yesterday, she's chef. I'm just a dude that likes to cook, that loves to feed people. And by happen chance, actually not by happen chance, but by some divine will, I ended up buying a catering company.
When did you decide that? When did you come to the realization that you were really good?
I don't know, because I don't think I'm that good.
You don't?
Like, literally, it's...
Did you eat dinner last night? Did you taste any of the stuff that you made?
I tasted as I was cooking. I was happy with it.
Is it my imagination, or did it really take 3 days to make that meal?
It literally took 3 days to make that meal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many people were served? Or how many servings were there?
There were between 80 and 100 servings.
And how many courses? Like there's a salad. Mm-hmm. There's a chicken. What was that? There was bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs. There was tri-tip that was glazed and marinated in our Asian fusion sauce and smoked. Green beans and bell peppers, except for one plate. And then potatoes with salt and pepper and garlic. Is that what the plate was about? Because it didn't have
hell yeah,
the bell peppers?
That was made specifically for you.
I ate both of them.
Well,
like that was actually good. Like they were really good.
Yeah.
Like I went back after everybody was done and I ate all the rest of the shit on the table.
I was there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
Like you did an incredible job with it.
Thank you.
Could you duplicate it?
Hell yeah.
It's fucking awesome, man.
Yep. I told him in there, I said, hey, I'm done doing this stuff, but I'll cook anytime at SOE.
Could we just get somebody to do it?
We could.
So that you didn't have to do it?
I would rather that.
Yeah. What would that cost?
That dinner, if I was doing it local, would have been between $4,000 and $4,500. To travel with it, I'd have charged $7 or $10,000.
So could we find somebody within 90 minutes of here that would do it for that?
I mean, if we went to them, no bullshit, and just said, hey, this is what we got. We got a couple things, a couple people that, we'd like to tweak a couple things. Like instead of using avocado oil for both sides, I used ghee, just because there was a seed oil allergy. But as long as we keep it no bullshit, we shouldn't have a problem finding somebody. It should be pretty easy.
It's cool. Yeah, it was really good, man.
Thank you.
And having seen what actually went into that is fucking, like, every time I walked through the kitchen, like, I saw your wife in there doing potatoes, like, I don't even know how many hours, but there was potatoes and potatoes and potatoes and potatoes and potatoes and potatoes.
Yeah.
There was always people in the kitchen, always her in the kitchen.
Yeah.
For
always.
days.
Yep.
And like I was in and out of the kitchen like a lot.
Yeah.
And I know she's probably like, who is this motherfucker that keeps coming in the kitchen?
No, she was doing everything she could to stay out of your way.
It was no bullshit. And that's not even necessary. But it wasn't just me. There was 100 people through the kitchen.
And I made an honest point until about 3 hours before service to just kind of roll with it. And then I shut the doors. We hung caution tape and get the hell out of the kitchen.
I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So what are you going to do if you're not going to do catering anymore?
So we're still going to do the flight catering, feeding people on private jets.
The expensive
part. Because it's not the same thing, when it's, they have specific tastes, which I'm okay catering to, but there's not 6 months of lead up and brides and all the drama to deal with.
Could you do it as like a really expensive Uber Eats almost?
It's kind of what it is.
You just go like with the sushi thing. Obviously, you're not making the sushi.
No, and more we're preparing and packaging food and then just delivering it, and not doing on-site cooking for really anything.
How big is that airport?
I mean, it's Missoula International Airport.
Oh, that's so it's like a major airport.
Yeah, and there's two private jet centers. They're called FBOs, So there's 2 that we service there, and then 56 miles south, there's Hamilton Regional Airport, and we service them as well.
So how often are you doing this?
I mean, it's sporadic. It really goes up and down, but I mean, there was 7 weeks where I was like running full bore 7 days a week, barely sleeping, just trying to keep up. So
one jet a day, multiple jets a day?
Oh no, we're talking, we probably average 2 jets a day.
Are you feeding the individual jets, or are they off-boarding the jet and eating at the...
No, a lot of times we're delivering food and preloading, so they can preload and then they're going to serve in the air.
Interesting. How many people are those?
Man, we really never know. They keep it pretty hush-hush. Like, we've served some, like, they call them VVIPs.
Like, how many meals do you have to take at a time?
Anywhere between 2 and, like, 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
So bigger jets and stuff.
Yeah.
That's wild. How did that happen?
It was a small part of the business when we acquired it. And then I actually turned it off for a while because I was like, screw this. I don't have time for this. And here recently, we just kind of went, you know what? We want to get out of the big catering. And so we're going to start moving to smaller catering. And the jet stuff just took off, so we rolled with it.
Does your wife work in that business?
My wife works in every business. Like, I mean, she keeps the house running and stuff, but she's always, doing, like, I'll be in the middle of something, they'll change something. Hey, run to the store, get this. Stop by and pick up this. I mean, go deliver this to the airport.
You guys fight?
Yes.
Like, knock down cats and dogs? Like,
no, but
dude, if Amanda and I were in there, they'd have been looking at us like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, her main role is the homemaker. Like, truly and surely, when we got together, we had a conversation, and I go make the money and she, like, runs the house. But with us doing all of the food stuff, it's kind of merged into she does a lot for me. And I mean, really just kind of keeps me centered and makes sure I'm not like chasing squirrels.
Mm-hmm. How many kids you got?
We have 5.
You have 5 kids?
5 kids, yep.
She made them all?
No. I have a 15-year-old from my first marriage.
Okay.
We have a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old from her previous marriage. Then we had a daughter in 2018 that passed away, and then we have a son that's 4 years old.
How long have you guys been together?
7-year anniversary this year.
Do the kids, like, you're all merged?
All merged, yeah.
And they all live with you full time?
Yeah, there's 6 people in a 1,050 square feet house.
Wow.
Yeah.
In 1,500 square feet?
1,050.
1,050.
Small spec house.
Wow.
That I bought when I was 18. Yeah.
How'd you buy a house when you were 18?
Dude, Simmerwell is like my 23rd small business. Like, I started my first business when I was 14 with a chainsaw and a half-ton truck. And then bought a tractor and started doing snow removal. We've done lead cast bullets. We've done ammunition.
Which was the hardest one?
I think Simmerwell's been the hardest one.
How many was she there for?
Let's see. When we got married, I was doing a little bit of construction. We morphed that into 17 employees with the paint company. And then we kind of necked that down right before COVID, but we were doing paint and tile and floors. And then Crave, and then Simmerwell. And then I've worked two part-time jobs in the wintertime when we were slow, just to kind of keep money coming in.
What's the craziest one he wanted to do that you guys maybe didn't do? What's the craziest thing you're like, what the fuck? There's not one. Do you have one that you wish you were still doing? Do you have one you miss? No. Were you glad and relieved when you changed them?
Catering, yes.
Got it.
When I said we were done doing weddings and stuff, she's like, fucking finally.
Because of the brides?
Just because it's a ton of stress.
Dude, every time I talk to you like a wedding photographer or videographer, it's always the bride.
Yeah, and I have a pretty strong vetting process. Like, after my first year, when we bought the company, we bought it during COVID. Like, 4 weeks into the shutdown, we bought a catering company.
That they thought was failing because of COVID?
No, the gal, it was like her hobby, and her husband worked for a multinational conglomerate. And they're like, you're moving to North Carolina. And she's like, okay. So she tried to sell, we were doing this soul supper thing with the church, and I was cooking for that. And she's like, well, would your church be interested in buying my pots and pans and stuff like that? And I Googled her business and I was like, what do you want for the business? And in 3 hours, I acquired a catering company with contracts.
Did you know how to do it?
I mean, I knew how to kind of cook food, and I've cooked.
Kind of cook food.
You know, I was the primary cook in our house from the time I was about 10. Both my parents worked 45-minute commute away. So if we wanted to eat at a regular time, I cooked. My brother did the dishes. We had a great home life, but
How old
my
are you
parents
right
worked.
now?
I just turned 35.
When did you start your first business?
It was like 14.
What was it?
A chainsaw with a half-ton truck selling firewood.
How long did that last?
Oh boy, I sold firewood until I was probably 20.
I watch firewood channels, like still today. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. But I love watching it for some reason.
Yeah. Well, my son with my ex-wife was kind of an oops. And I was already working full-time at a tire store. And I had been selling firewood. And so I was committed to making it work. So bought a house at 18. Luckily, I'd had like car loans, built up credit, stuff like that, and had a good job. And so I would take at that point in time, I had a 1-ton truck with a flatbed. I would leave at 4 o'clock in the morning, go up in the woods, cut two cord of firewood, load it up, go to work.
2 cords of firewood.
2 cords of firewood.
Unsplit?
Unsplit, yep, in rounds.
Loaded it, brought it down.
Loaded it, brought it down, went to Missoula, worked at the tire store all day, got as many hours as I could, drove home, kicked it off the truck, did the same thing the next day.
What'd you split it with?
Split them all.
You split it by hand.
I tried to sell the majority of it in rounds, because you actually make more money in rounds.
Okay.
So, and then I had some customers that were like older that had splitters.
Is that because you don't get paid for the physical labor put into splitting it?
You don't get paid for the physical labor, plus the wood takes up, your cordage is different because of the amount of space it takes.
Got it.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw guys selling them in the IBC tote cages. And he's like, don't stack these in here. Just throw them in there for the labor, figure out what's actually in there, and then put it in there, see what really fits, unload it, see what that is, how much of a face cord or whatever that is, and then put them in that way, because you're never going to be paid for the time of stacking them in there. Whereas if we just put them in there with a conveyor or something.
Yeah. So much so that when I was, I think I was 19, I bought a 1977 6500 series Chevy with a knuckle boom and a dump bed on it.
Wow.
And I'd go up there and just illegal as all get out, because I was using the commercial stuff on a firewood permit, and load up as much wood as I can, and then go and just dump it at people's places. As much labor as you can save as possible, right? Save your wear and tear on your body.
Tell me about the cast bullet thing.
So my dad, we used to live in Medford, Oregon, and there's a company called Simell, and they build boats, fishing boats. And my dad, working at a tire store, used to take the steel wheel weights and melt them down and make boat anchors. And they were triangular. And Simell actually built the anchor well in the boat for that. And so he made pretty decent money for that. And then he started casting his own bullets for himself. And then that kind of merged into when we moved to Northern Oregon a couple years later. We had a bullet business called Going Ballistic Bullet Company. And when I was 7-8 years old, we had some small scale commercial casting machines, and we'd come home from school and help sort bullets and stuff and lube them and size them. And some of my youngest memories, I was standing on the table, hand feeding bullets into a Dillon reloader while my dad was reloading. And that's how we spent time
Like
together.
Electric progressive?
No, a manual progressive. Yeah. 650.
Wow.
And so when we moved to Montana, we shut that down. Well, in the wintertime, I couldn't cut firewood. And so when I was 15, I started that back up in the garage and started selling bullets. And then my dad was like, heck, I need a tax write-off. Let's turn this back into a business. And so I spent 2.5 years driving around between 24 and 30 gun shows a week doing cast bullets sales.
So do you intend to take Simmerwell? Explain what Simmerwell is, because people listening probably don't know most.
So Simmerwell is, for lack of a better term, a health company. We do really awesome, healthy food. And so we use pasture-raised poultry put and beef, and we put as few ingredients as possible in it to make it just awesome. And then we simmer it for 24 hours, and then we freeze dry it and put it in little individual serving packets that you mix between 10 and 12 ounces of water.
But it's broth.
It's broth.
Where does all the meat go?
So we buy chicken backs, which are the bone structure that's left behind.
Okay.
And so we filter, or we use a conical whisk called a chinois, and we pour everything through that. And so very, very fine stuff gets through. And then when it goes through the freeze dryer, it just kind of disappears. So there's a little bit of that kind of stuff in there, but.
So explain to people why they want freeze-dried bone broth.
So bone broth is a fantastic health thing. I mean, it's your health starts in your gut, and bone broth has all the nutrition, all the collagen, all the minerals and nutrients that you need for your gut to fire and to cause everything else to work well. Plus, it's awesome to have something that's not coffee to sip on when it's cold outside. And if you backpack or are into preparedness or anything like that, it's an awesome way to add a ton of flavor to something like rice or beans or whatever you're just kind of throwing together
instead of bouillon.
Instead of bouillon. Yeah, because bouillon's got some flavor, but it doesn't have anything else. And it's super salty and just...
And it's all chicken broth?
We do chicken and beef right now.
Now, will the minerals and the nutrients be different between the chicken and the beef?
Yes.
So your customers should each use one of each per day?
They should switch back and forth between the two. Because there's different things you get out of beef than you get out of chicken.
So if I implemented this, like I get up every morning, and the first thing I use is 2 scoops of Optigreen. I use a scoop of Sacred 7 mushroom blend. There's a scoop of creatine in there, and then usually something pre-workout. Mm-hmm. And I put all that in water and drink all of that within, 15 minutes. If I started implementing and adding the Simmerwell into there, what effects might I see, or what should I be looking for? What might I get from that?
So if you started in the morning with Simmerwell, and then did that half an hour, 45 minutes later, you're going to notice that, at least I do, my stomach actually starts waking up and I digest things better. I don't get the protein burp or, any of that kind of like that, where that flavor kind of comes back up the back of your throat, because your stomach is actually actively engaged in breaking down things that it's meant to. It's actually working on the collagen. Plus, you're going to find that if you drink some broth in the morning, you're actually really not hungry until lunchtime, because it not only is liquid in your stomach, but your body's taking nourishment out of it.
There's some lubricating effects to joints with some of that also, or is no, not?
I don't honestly know. People say that it's all killed off by the bacteria, or not by the bacteria, but the acid in your stomach. I don't know. I just know that when I drink broth pretty much every morning, I feel better in general.
I think guys should add it in, like especially talking about bug out bags and stuff like that. I think that's a good thing to add in there.
Yeah.
Like if you're drinking water, you might as well have some nutrients in there.
Yeah.
So maybe use that,
Well, and you can reconstitute it hot or cold. That's the nice thing about that over bouillon is bouillon doesn't reconstitute in cold. It just stays a block forever. It doesn't really reconstitute very well in hot water either. It takes forever. So if you're in a bug out situation, or even like the guys that are doing ultralight backpacking and stuff, a lot of those guys are reconstituting stuff, like they're cold reconstituting things, while they're walking. But like Toolman Tim put a bunch of them this spring in his bags, just because it's easy nutrition. It's easy to add flavor to whatever. And the salt content in it is enough to where you get some benefit from the flavor, but it's not like, some of the other freeze-dried stuff that is just like overly salty, right?
Yeah, and I mean a lot of those big box store stuff, they've had to add tons and tons of salt to that shit to meet that price point on some of that stuff, especially like the Mountain House stuff. Like
exactly.
That. So what's the dosage? Like just run water through the coffee machine and take that water and then add the broth into it, and like that's the right mixture ratio?
I mean, you could do it that way. Most mugs are going to be between 12 and 16 ounces. Mm-hmm. And so I just add to the packet in there, and then a lot of times I just use hot tap water. Let the tap run for a minute, because I don't want tea hot. I want to be able to drink it and not have like an ice block on my stomach when I start the morning, but I don't want to have to take a half an hour to drink it. Mm-hmm. I don't want to chug it, but I don't want to have to
So what's your capacity on this? Like, how many of these things can you, like, are you to the point, are you still making these, or you have a facility that's able to package these? Are you still having to package these yourself?
We're still manually packaging for now. Yes. Yep.
Are you at the point where you can make more than you can sell, or can you still sell more than you can make?
I can make more than I can sell right now.
So are you trying to scale that?
Yeah. Yeah. We're about 2 weeks from like final finish on our new facility. And then we're going to start pushing, actually getting the sales out there and going. We're using the flight catering to like live off of and pay the bills. And then with the cost of construction and then just the availability, we'd have an extra $300,000 in a year and an extra year and a half in trying to get our facility done. So having done all the things, I'm just doing all the work myself.
So this whole new facility is just for Simmerwell.
It is Simmerwell Central. Yes. Yep. We've got dedicated walk-in freezers for storing bones. Our chicken guys, they harvest from April to November, end of April to beginning of November. So we've got a 6-month dry spell. And so with the walk-in freezers, we can stock up so we can be continually making it through the year. And then we've got walk-in refrigeration. I just finished the big stainless steel backsplash for the huge hood vent. Currently we've got 4 extra large Harvest Right freeze dryers in there. And then as soon as their bigger machines are coming online and being proven a little bit more, the plan is to be to 8 of those big machines.
What's the big machine look
so
like?
The big machine, the XL will do 40 pounds of food.
And it's twice the size of my larges, right?
No, the XL is twice the size of the large.
I have the large.
You have a large.
The XL holds twice the capacity.
The XL holds twice the capacity. The 100 series is what they call it, holds 2.2 times the extra large.
Wow. How big is that? What's that machine look like?
It's 36 inches wide, 36 inches deep, 30 inches wide. Or are you talking about the big machine? Or are you talking about the XL?
The big machine.
The big machine is basically 3 foot by 3 foot by like 7 foot tall.
That's not the XL.
Not the XL. No.
Who has one that's like a shipping container, half a shipping container?
There's several companies out there, but there's several $100,000.
Got it.
And the biggest concern with that is we have to have the ability to fill that machine to do runs with it.
Justify running it.
Which will take a significantly larger facility.
How big are your coolers?
So I got a 10 by 12 walk-in freezer that's 8 foot tall, and then I've got a 10 by 10 walk-in cooler. And then we have, I don't know, pushing a dozen chest freezers that are just stuff that we've been operating off of, and just extra storage space until we really get our runs figured out and figure out what we need and when and how often we need to buy bones. And
were you at the point where you're like, we're never going to fill this up?
No. I'm at the point right now where I'm like, I need another $150,000 so I can lease the empty space next to me and just put in all refrigeration.
When we moved in here, we're like, oh, we'll never fill this place up. And I mean, now, like, it's completely full.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got the refrigeration put together, and then I was able to do the like a partition wall, because we're going to be FDA or USDA inspected. And so the kitchen is like this clean room space. And so we've got our storage area that's going to be separate, because like it's $7 a square foot for the drop ceiling, let alone everything else. And so I put that partition wall up, and it's like, holy crap, we don't have any space. Like, we needed a bigger space now.
What's your floor look like in there?
The floor is an epoxy finish. So it's a concrete floor.
Drains in the floor?
No drains. There's one floor drain. But with what we're doing, we don't really need the floor drains.
So how often can they just like randomly show up to inspect?
So once we hit USDA certified, we won't be able to operate without an inspector there. So we will have a tasked. Yes, it's we
like, just talked about that with the butcher guys.
Yeah, it's the same thing. They treat us like a processing facility.
So I got a buddy that opened a butcher shop here, a very nice butcher shop, and he said we had to have an office there. We have to maintain an office that only this guy can access, and anytime we're doing anything USDA, he has to be present when we do it.
Yeah. So
we have to pay him basically as an employee, and he said it's literally like his job is to act like he hates us.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why has it got to be like that?
Because it's the government doing government things. I mean, it's the same shit that FEMA's doing right now with the, you know, with the supplies and stuff. It's just them putting their thumb on you. And yeah, we because of the size of our facility, we can share an office, but I have to provide a desk and a locked filing cabinet that only the inspector has a key to. And then the machines can run in the background without them there. But we can't even open a machine to start any packaging unless the inspector's there. And if the inspector hits a deer, calls in sick, you know, any myriad of reasons.
So what is, I mean, like, it's finished, what does he do with the finished product?
He just stares at you and makes sure that you're not picking your nose.
That's literally what it is.
Like,
You're paying them.
Like
Make sure you have a hairnet.
He's in a white lab coat with a hairnet and a clipboard. And he's just watching you, waiting for you to screw up.
How could that even fucking be when, like, you see a Burger King, nobody's sitting there watching them.
Because they're not packaging food to ship over state lines. They're under the capacity of the county sanitarian.
So because it goes interstate commerce, it now becomes federally regulated.
Yep. So like with our stuff that we're doing right now, we can sell with just our standard operating license in the state of Montana direct to consumer. 100% no problem right now. And then as soon as we are operating the facility for, I think 3 months, we can go state inspected, which means we can sell wholesale to other businesses for them to resell. And then we have to operate for like...
With USDA or without?
No, without USDA. But so that would be like any of the stores within the state.
But direct to consumer, you have to have that USDA guy there every time.
No, to sell over state lines.
Holy shit.
Even though we're doing direct to consumer.
Have you met your inspector yet?
So the one nice thing about it is the USDA doesn't have people. Like, they're so strapped for people.
So the guy that does here in Tennessee at this butcher shop also is up in Kentucky.
Yep. So a couple years ago, the USDA started a program, I think it's called the FSIS or something like that program, where they actually contract the state employees to be USDA inspectors under certain conditions. So we'll actually have our local state guy, they're all pretty cool. They will be our USDA inspectors for the most part. It's just a matter of, are they going to stay the cool guys, or are they going to...
Yeah, what happens when you get a bureaucrat that's a vegan and thinks you shouldn't be processing chicken or some shit?
I think they're going to have a hard time moving up to USDA. Either that or they're going to go all the way to the top.
Wild.
Yeah, so... But, I mean, it's just... And that's why there's not a ton of people doing what we're doing. There's a ton of barriers to entry. On top of the fact that, I mean, it's like a bachelor level degree, the amount of courses and classwork and study and everything I have to do to be a internal food inspector, to be a health and safety director, a food safety manager. Like, there's all these positions that you have to have a certification for.
Is it called in common sense?
It's mostly common sense. Like, but they word everything in the classes to confuse the crap out of you.
In lawyer speak.
Yep. So lots of barrier to entry, but it allows people like us that are just willing to just get shit done. We don't have a ton of competition.
At what point is it going to pay?
6 months.
6 months from now?
6 months from now. 6 months from now, we'll have everything done. And we will be far enough into affiliate codes and stuff like that to where, you know, we've got several people within the community that have audiences that have our product, love our product. And so the moment we go live with a lot of that stuff, it doesn't take a ton. We live a pretty modest life for now, and so it doesn't take a ton to completely allow us to monopolize on one thing. And the day that I get to sell off my flight catering division is going to be a good day.
Good profit on there, you think?
Yeah,
or a good sale.
Good sale. Yeah, because there's nobody. We've been closed for 3 weeks and I'm still getting calls every day. And I'm getting calls from the way it works is like a corporate jet, a lease company, will book a flight and then they put it out for bid basically. And then there's intermediaries that like pounce on it and then I contract to them. And so they'll reach out and they'll say, I need 3 crew meals. I need four filet mignon plates with asparagus. I want 200 pieces of sushi. I want this bottle of Bordeaux. And they'll send it to me, and I'll reply back with either, depending on the company, in progress, or if it's over a certain threshold, I send them an estimate, and they give me the go ahead or not. And if I tell one company no, then an hour later I get a phone call or an email from the next company in line that's like, well, I got a caterer. They don't know that I'm everybody's caterer.
Yeah. Right.
So
they're brokering you.
Yeah, I'm the only name in town for those 3 airports.
That's awesome.
And so and it's a pretty easy gig. I mean, like, somebody, if that's all they wanted to focus on, they could do really well with it.
How far are you guys from Whitefish?
3 hours.
Got it.
3 hours, yeah. And it's a long 3 hours up a 2-lane road like you got out here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Were you here when the shop was running? Did you see the shop operating while the sewers and the employees were here? What was your assessment of that? Don't like, honestly.
I mean, you can see you got some powerhouse people in there that are like kicking ass, and I know you got a bunch of new people, and I'm not around enough to know who's who, but I mean, it seemed like overall you were running pretty efficient, but in a building phase.
Yeah.
As far as crew.
Yeah. I have the perception that you're pretty fucking organized.
That I'm organized?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, you're wrong.
And I am absolutely not organized.
No.
Like, as fucked up and as mess as it is in there, that's how it is every day.
I can promise you, and she will attest to it. I feel 100% at home on my couch in your facility because I'm exactly the same way. She's what keeps me organized.
Do you see anything that can improve what we're doing? Like, if you came in, the time you were here,
mm-hmm.
If you're going to give advice, what advice would you give me?
Man, I don't feel qualified to give you advice.
Okay, when you're driving home and you're having the conversation without me, what would you tell her, or what would she tell you?
I mean, I'm hire fast, fire fast, and not knowing who is who in there, I'd be sending a couple of people home. But I don't know if they're there for the first week.
Is it him?
No. Plus, you never know, he might stab you in the neck.
He might.
Yeah, you guys run an awesome operation, and
How fucked up is my kitchen flow?
That's fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you do with it?
I would get 90% of that shit out of there.
Yeah.
And
that's how the whole building is.
And throw 80% of the stuff on there on the shelves away.
Yeah. That's how my whole building is.
Yeah.
You didn't even see the back rooms.
No.
That's where the other 90% of the shit that was in the kitchen went.
No, but we do talk, when we talk SOE and we talk, you guys and stuff, it's like, man, I would just love to see the behind the scenes, because I know you guys have been at it for like ever, and we aspire to be that. And
we just have the ability not to stop. It's not because it runs well.
Yeah. I mean, I just think you need to find a shipping person, and just the one thing I would, I would say you need a shipping person. Yeah. And then every time you think I need to have that person do something else, go, no, that's my shipping person. That's what they're here for.
Unfortunately, the best shipping person we had is Lewis.
Yeah.
It's Lewis.
Yeah.
He knows the product. He can't even tell the fucking color.
I was going to say, isn't he colorblind?
Yeah, he's totally colorblind. He sent all kinds of wrong shit. He's still the best shipping person we had.
Yeah.
Because he knows the product and he moves.
Yeah.
And we've never had a dude in there like that. We've never had a person in there like that.
Yeah.
It's not here.
That's what you need to do.
I was shipping and I fucked up everything I touched.
Oh, well.
You just had another product.
Yeah. Well, and that's the hard thing is, like, I've been tracking SOE for a couple years. I still don't know what half that stuff is in there, because I've been around guns my whole life. I've done tactical shooting since I was a kid. We used to go shoot IPSC competitions. That's part of the reason we made ammo. And, I don't know what most of that stuff is. And, I'm continually like, oh man, that's freaking awesome. And I was telling Chuck the other day, I was like, I need this thing that I can put on that's Molly on the back that I can Molly, and then I can just like rip these Velcro backed pockets. He's like, oh, you need this IFAC thing.
Compact Jeff.
John makes that. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly. I had no idea you made that. So, yeah, finding somebody that knows your product is hard part.
Or we just have to develop them and teach
Yeah.
them. Yeah, it takes me to do that. Which absolutely has to fucking happen. I get it.
Well, and I mean that's like we were talking this morning about the recording and doing the social media stuff. You know, I have to, like, my biggest thing right now is I need to take the 20 minutes and set the camera up, even if it's just recording me working in the background. But trying to juggle all the things,
or even just having the footage, man. If you just run a GoPro,
yeah,
dump that footage into a file on a hard drive until that hard drive's done. Just date everything, and then you have it. You can send it to somebody. I mean, you could mail the hard drive to Pakistan or wherever they're at. You could use Fiverr or whoever.
Because I'm okay with putting the camera on, and I'm okay talking to the camera. Like, I got over the whole, like, I'm a weirdo with the camera, talking to a camera a while ago. But it's taking that raw footage and turning it into something that, like, I sit down at a computer and my brain just wants to explode. I'm not a computer guy.
I get it, dude. It takes me 8 hours to do a 15-minute video, and it's complete shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, we go fisticuffs the closest when it's, I need you to do paperwork, and she doesn't, like, there's a disconnect there on how I want it done. And so it's like, I need to do it. But anything to do with the computer, I don't want to do. Like, I want to go out there and I want to do the things. And that's something that I know that I need to work on. And that's why I've been following a lot of bear stuff, especially like the CEO bear stuff, you know, because eventually I'm going to be at the point where I'm not making the product. I'm running the company, which means I'm going to have to be on a computer. And so I'm going to have to evolve as a business owner, as a person, to do that. But I definitely am not going to do the media, like the editing and all that kind of stuff.
You better start now.
So
you better find somebody, hire somebody, get some part-time person, whether it's her or one of the kids or whatever it is, to start using. You just buy a phone, and build that social media account and have all of those locked down right now.
We've got all of them.
Good.
When we built product and we're like 3 weeks from coming here in the spring, we didn't have a company name yet.
Where'd the name come from?
Sue Zoldak, one of Nicole's people, she did a bunch of stuff for SRF too.
I don't think I've ever met her.
That's what she does. She does political campaigns and all sorts of stuff. And I reached out to Nicole and I'm like, I need a branding person because I want this to be big right off the bat. I don't want it to look podunk and then have to try to rebrand it. We want to drop as we look like a multi-million-dollar company. And so I was put in touch with Sue, and over the course of 6 weeks, we got a name. We got our whole like tent that has all the display and everything like that, all our labels, everything like that. And they came up with a bunch of like options, and we just kind of went, we like this and we like this, and we just kind of moved stuff around, and that's how it all came together.
What'd that cost?
That was $10,000. Yeah. And we did that before we ever bought a single, like.
And that's not with a trademark or anything.
No, that was website, logos, our background and our tablecloth and that kind of stuff. That was like almost $2,000 on its own. But when we go to a trade show, we want to look the part.
Yeah. Have you put product into influencers' hands yet?
I have.
What are you using for your affiliate marketing program?
So we have they built our website for specifically knowing that we were going to do affiliate marketing. And so it's literally go in and check the box to turn it on and then enter people's codes and hand them out.
What program is your site built on?
It's like it's I don't know if it's Shopify, but it's like Shopify. I think it's Shopify actually.
WooCommerce or BigCommerce or.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard I use Affiliately. Is like on Shopify you have all of these apps that you can just choose, and there'll be 10 affiliate program apps, and we use Affiliately only because Rob Bailey and Daniel and Bailey use that. I heard, like, I'm on his CCV, Clear Calculated and Vicious program, his private mastermind program, and on that back end, I've stopped. I haven't done it in a long time because we're doing the Tuesday lives, and that's when he does those, is it Tuesday. But just that alone, he's like, we use Affiliately for all of our influencer marketing. And just that right there is worth that. And then just the couple pieces, you'll hear something just listening in the background. You're like, holy shit, okay, there's the thing. This is who he's using for cut sew. This is who he's using. And you just, stuff like that was great. Mm-hmm. So, and that's why we went with that. We don't even have any affiliate marketing, but that's what's turned on that we have.
Gotcha.
Because we sell everything direct to consumer, and we don't yet have a product that I need to liquidate. We don't have volume that we need to move, that we need to pay an influencer for, because we don't have the capacity to do it.
Especially after this weekend.
Holy
cow, this was the first time I'd actually been, because I was going back and forth from outside through the building into the kitchen to check on things, to do things, to see how much product moved off the shelf this weekend. I was like, holy cow.
Yeah, I have no idea what I haven't even looked at the money.
And then you ran that fat discount code this weekend. It's like,
that's going to be the big one. Like you want to see some crazy shit. Wait till those orders start.
I just want to see the stack of papers
when
come
she
out
prints
of the
it.
printer. Yeah, that's going to be crazy.
Well, you'll see it tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. We're going to be here for another day at least.
Yeah, it'll take a while for those to print out. There'll be a ream of paper in there. Yeah, that's some shit, man. What else?
Man, I'm just grateful to be a part of the community. Like this, I found you through Jack, and I got on the live one night and I was like, hey man, like I'm here because of Jack.
That's our first contact?
Our first contact. And you read that and you're like, that's cool. And you like asked me some questions and we kind of interacted. I was like, that's pretty cool. And then, man, this thing's at 8:00 at night. Like I'm putting my kids to bed, like working, doing all sorts of stuff. But now that 9:00 live has been like, that's my hangout time with my friends. And between you and Amanda's podcast, like the membership meeting or whatever you guys are calling it, man, that's one of the highlights. And I
listen to all those
every week, over multiple times.
I feel like I don't have enough value to give to people, and I also feel like the questions are dying out in there.
I would say that they kind of are, especially on the YouTube side. But I think you've got that $20 level on Patreon. And I think if you guys did like some sort of interactive live once a month, that would be huge.
That would add the value.
That would add a ton of value. And there's already like, man, I could never get another piece of value off of any of that stuff again and still be in the black because of, dude, the knowledge you drop on a daily basis. I come to the lives and listen, and half the time I'm like taking a screenshot of my phone so I know what time it is, so I can figure out what to go back to, so I can re-listen to that part of the live. Because just in random conversation, you drop something that's like, holy shit.
I never know when it's going to happen, man. I've literally, if you look at like the last 90 days, I never missed a live. There was never a live that I didn't do. I was always right on at 9:00, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking eat.
Yeah.
Like 9:15. We'll start when we start. And I just feel like it's me walking around just reading comments. Just wait. I'm like waiting for that one thing where I can go off and actually put something in there for it. But I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm just burning out on it or.
I mean, you've been doing it for what, 9 years?
I don't know.
Pretty much every night?
I don't know.
It's funny because you'll be on for less than 2 minutes.
I want to do it.
Yeah.
I do. And I'm just like, man, there's nothing in here. Like, there's nothing but bullshit here.
Yeah. You'll be on for like 2 minutes, and I'll look at Sarah and I'll be like, it's a 15-minute kind of night. Or hey, he's going to go for hours tonight just because of the chat, and half the time I'm like, man, spam bots are going to come out and boom, you're on it. And it's enjoyable. But yeah, I mean, it's hard when you've done something for so long to not be like, I just want to like chill tonight.
And it's not even that I want to do that. It's just that this is boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Go sew a war bag for somebody and, make some progress that night.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of times, like I used to get up on Saturday mornings if we weren't going anywhere. I would sew early in the morning on Saturday and just turn the camera on and just ignore it. But you'd see hundreds of people, especially when we were doing like Facebook lives, man. I'd have 7,000 people on a Facebook live while I would do cardio on the stair stepper. That was wild, man.
Man, I turn on your sew build videos or when those lives come on, and I just have it cranked, and just the tempo that your machine runs, because you run that thing full bore, my productivity goes up, like, because I'm competing with John.
I tell guys that all the time. I'm like, what the fuck are you listening to? And it's some bullshit, watching video games or something. I'm like, man, we can tell that we grew up in a different time because we were listening to rap music about killing people and running from the police and selling drugs. I go, you just listen to the wrong music. Like, clearly your artist is sedated and mine was stimulated, you know?
Yeah. I listen to a lot of Eminem.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, I listen. All of it. Although, especially like the West Coast rap stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I'm going to be a rapper.
Waiting for it.
Keep waiting. All right, man. I just want to sit down and make sure we talk for a minute. Is there anything else you want to add here that we didn't touch on?
I mean, if all I want to say is if somebody wants, has the desire to do anything, to just like be active and ask the questions and like put forth the effort, and especially in this community, like there's a little bit of a barrier to entry. But
it doesn't take a lot to shine.
It doesn't. And put forth a little bit of effort and just be consistent. And everybody in this community wants to see you succeed.
We've had so many people come in, and like I say all the time, they do everything it takes to get the job. They don't do anything to keep that job, right? I used to say I don't even want to know a guy's name for 90 days. And I said it jokingly, but it really, Scully's like, that's real, right? Like, I don't want to know their name till the guys have given them a nickname. Because we do pour in and put so much time and effort into these dudes, and then they just go sideways. They're like, because a lot of especially like guys that move here, right? They're running from something. The girlfriend broke up, and I'm going to show her. I'm just going to leave town, or they're, they got a warrant or whatever. You never know what it is. They come in and they really excel and do good, and then they don't, and they just go like, what happened to you?
Yeah.
So I feel like that 90-day time, right? I see guys on there all the time. I'm like, yeah, we'll acknowledge them, but what are they really here for, right? Are they just here pushing their own shit, or like, what is it? Like Edgy American in there. Do you know he was here?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was that motherfucker till last night sitting on the porch. He's like, yeah, I got some knives. I go, wait a minute, who are you? He's like, I'm Edgy American. I go, why did you not tell me that? Why did I not know that 2 days ago? Like, I haven't even looked at your knives.
Mm-hmm. I heard it in passing. I never actually had a chance to talk to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's anybody come up to you from the internet and say, hey, I'm XYZ from the internet?
A lot of guys did.
A lot of guys?
Yeah,
cool.
they actually did. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you could tell why they were here and what they were here for.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
So what's the next thing we should do?
Where? With what?
Whatever.
Man, I'm looking forward to an actual old school SOE party with like music and all the stuff. Yeah.
What kind of music?
Hip hop gangster shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that really what he listens to?
He's working it.
Do you approve? Yeah.
She listens to the same stuff.
All right.
She's the one that listens to the screamer stuff.
Oh, I wouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yep.
All right, we'll do something.
So, anything you do, we're here.
I appreciate it, man.
Yep.
All right, thank you, AJ.
Simmerwell.com.
I was gonna say it.
I built this thing from the bottom.